Please join me in welcoming the ITS5C Summit Chairman and the man responsible for organizing all these fine-looking folks in their blue polo shirts today, Jay Calhoun.
Well, as the chair of the 2018 ITS5C Summit, I certainly would like to welcome you to this event. This is really a special event for us. But I don't know about you, but I'm glad it's here, and I'm going to be much more happy when it's finally over. As of this morning, as Jonathan said, we have over 750 registrants, and that's truly amazing to me. I don't know which mic is working. If that one is. Okay. That's really amazing. I think it's a demonstration of how healthy our industry is, and also I think it's a demonstration of how exciting our industry is. This summit, as Jonathan told you, is put together by the Gulf region, ITS, known as GRITS, ITS Carolinas, ITS Florida, ITS Georgia, and ITS Tennessee. And so if you just think about that, that's 8 states that are represented by the 5 chapters that are here. And we have over 75 exhibitors as well down in the exhibit hall demonstrating the latest technology in our rapidly changing industry. This is a great conference. It's got a lot of opportunities, and I want you to take advantage of all of them. You have the opportunity to learn here. We have technical breakout sessions on all types of topics. We have incredible plenary sessions, including this one, obviously, but some really good ones coming as well. We have training classes, one yesterday afternoon and another one Tuesday afternoon. And, of course, you can always learn from the exhibit hall. You have the opportunity to network. We have a lot of networking breaks. Thanks to some guidance I got, our networking breaks are 45 minutes rather than 30 minutes, and so we have that. We have great evening events, which are opportunities to network. I mean, how cool is it? We're taking over a brewery one night and a museum the next. I mean, that's just sort of amazing to me. And we also have, as Kirk said, lots of restaurants and bars in the area, so you have a lot of opportunities to network with friends and to make new friends. And you also have the opportunity to have a lot of fun here. Just relax. There's golf on Tuesday afternoon, but if you don't want to do that, just relax and enjoy the 3 days that you're here. I do want to encourage you, as I said, 3 days, to stay for the Wednesday morning event if you can. I understand hurricanes, the hurricane may be requiring a lot of folks to leave, but on Wednesday morning, we have an executive roundtable that has people from all over the Southeast coming in for it. We have the chief engineer from Puerto Rico coming in to explain how apt is this, explain recovery efforts from Hurricane Maria in his country and what's going on there. And also Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, will be here to close out the session Wednesday. So if you can stay, I would certainly encourage you to do that. At this point, I want to take a few minutes to thank, I said a few people, but maybe a lot of people. A conference this size doesn't just happen. It took a lot of planning by a lot of people. A lot of people, as you would imagine, put a lot of hard work, and I want to thank them at this time. Our executive committee for the summit includes Chris Hillier from ALDOT, who represents GRITS, Mike Holt with WSP that represented ITS Georgia, Carrie Mussman from ACOM representing ITS Carolinas, and Adam Moser from C2S representing ITS Tennessee. These people made all the hard decisions of the summit and made my job much easier. So if they're here, would they please stand? I'd like to recognize them, please. The chairs of our planning committee, so we had several planning committees. The chairs put in an incredible amount of work, not the least of which was participating, as Jonathan said, in longer and longer telephone calls every other week for the last year and a half. And please stand when your name is called on this. Chris Hillier for keynote speakers. Adam Moser for speakers. Sandy Beck with registration. Bill Wells, communication. Jonathan Fox, sponsors. Craig Carnes, local arrangements. Carrie Lord for exhibitors. Jeff Dale, printed materials. Connie Braithwaite for on-site. Ken Jacobs with golf. and Jonathan Tursky for budget. Please recognize all these folks who did a great job. And I also want to thank all the folks that they were directing, all the committee members, and there's way too many of them to name. But I'd like to thank anyone who served on the committee, and if they would also stand, please, to be recognized. Just any of the committee members? Great, thank you. They think their job is done, but it's not yet done. If you see any of those folks around, they'll be in blue shirts like this one today, red shirts tomorrow. Ask them anything, they're here to help as well, so their job isn't done yet. I also want to give a special thanks to Sandy Beck. I know she's not here. She's the Executive Director of ITS Florida. Sandy wasn't just the chair of one of our committees, but she was also my go-to person throughout all the planning of this session, and as well as everyone else's go-to person. And Sandy did a great job putting all this together. She's downstairs now, still registering people that are walk-ups, and I want to thank her as well. As important as the planners were for the conference, it wouldn't happen without the generosity of our sponsors and exhibitors as well. We have an unbelievable exhibit hall. It's got all kinds of stuff, and I want to thank all of our exhibitors for being here. Be sure to go visit them, see what they're offering, and keep them in mind the next time that you're buying something or specifying something. Go visit them and keep them busy for the next 2.5 days. And also the sponsorship for our summit. Jonathan Fox and his committee blew right past our budget goals for that committee. It was amazing. And it's the sponsorships money, the sponsors' money that allows us to keep registration fees reasonable and benefits high. So if you see one of these blue ribbons somewhere, it says sponsors on it, say thanks to them because, you know, again, it's their funding. And I want to particularly thank 360 Network Solutions, who was our diamond sponsor. When this opportunity was advertised, and this was something new for ITS Florida, this was put out as a bid for sponsorship. They jumped in right away and were the high bidder for that. As the chair, it was great to have their interest right away. And as Jonathan would attest, it was also nice to have working capital right away. They contributed their money and paid the bills, so that was a great thing to have. I also do want to thank FDOT. FDOT has been great in this. They're the IT folks for our conference, and also there'll be volunteers for the technical tours and other things, so you'll see them around. So I do want to thank FDOT as well. And also, finally, we need to thank the hotel, the Hyatt Hotel, and their staff. It's a great facility. This is probably our third, fourth, fifth visit to this hotel for different events. They've been great to work with. I need to talk about a couple other people related to this conference as we go through it. When Chris Hillier originally approached ITS Florida about the 2014 ITS5C Summit that was held in Mobile, Alabama, I immediately thought of Charlie Wallace. Charlie was a University of Florida professor and one of the early leaders of transportation in the state of Florida. And he had talked about a similar concept when he was executive director of ITS Florida. And actually, Charlie was much more than just the executive director of ITS Florida. He was the founder of IVHS Florida, if you want to go back. And he was an officer and a driving force of ITS Florida for many years. He organized the first IVHS Florida Forum. I found notes on it in Orlando from November 4th, 1992. And that was the first multi-organizational meeting that eventually became ITS Florida's very successful event known as Transpo that we continue to hold every other year. When I joined ITS Florida in 1995, I was the typical member of an organization. I attended meetings and didn't do much else. But Charlie became my mentor and made me an active member of the organization, and I'm still in it today. Charlie had a dream when he was the chair that Transpo would become a regional event and talked about it often. And while it didn't happen until many years later, here we are now. ITS3C was the first of these, and now we're at 5C, and who knows what the next one will be. But all I know is, thankfully, I won't be the chair. But Charlie, please stand and let me be the first to thank you and for your guidance and for dreaming big. I'm really glad you're a part of this event. You're able to be here. Also, on a people note, we had a Name the Summit contest, and from entries received from all the chapters, the winner was, as you saw, coming together to address the challenge of connecting cars, communities, and citizens. And the submitter said he worked really hard to get 5 C's into the title of this conference. And the only problem I see is I count 6 C's, so I'm not really sure what he was doing. But anyway, the winner is Adam Moser, and Adam, you can see Sandy after this session to pick up the prize, which is a new iPad. So congratulations. Unfortunately, on the people front, we had a bad week in July of this year. On Tuesday of one of the weeks, there were several of us here in Jacksonville planning this event. We learned of the passing of Mike Stokes of Grits. And I just want to read a few statements from Grits regarding Mike. Jonathan Fox said, "Mike Stokes was truly a great leader of ITS and the godfather of Grits. When you spoke with him about Grits, his smile got bigger and the twinkle in his eyes got brighter. I take comfort in knowing Mike's vision of a local community of ITS patrons and friends coming together was realized as Grits, and we can continue as part of his legacy." Marshall Elizer said, "Mike was a passionate and visionary leader for MDOT's ITS program, as well as an active advocate for the ITS profession. He never shied away from challenges in finding ways to expand and improve his program and the state of ITS in the Southeast U.S. His legacy will clearly be the expansion and advancement of MDOT's ITS program, as well as his drive to create ITS chapter that became Grits. He will be missed." And A.C. Roberts, who I saw here today, said, "Mike Stokes was a true visionary and forced Mississippi DOT into the 21st century with cutting-edge traffic technology. His friendship and willingness to work across state boundaries led to the creation of Grits, a resource sharing and technical conference organization that's expanded to 3 states. My impression of Mike was he was just a great guy. I know he was a good leader, and certainly all my interaction with Mike was always as a friend and a true leader. That same week, Chester Chandler of ITS Florida passed away. Chester was known for many things. He was the big thinker who convinced FDOT leadership to create a $650 million ITS program that made FDOT one of the leaders in the nation. Think about that, $650 million, and he got them to commit to that. While in Tallahassee, Chester led his ITS working group meetings, which were 2-day workshops that drew people and ideas from all over the country. He was always pushing to improve the state's ITS program, including bringing the systems engineering process to the ITS. Who that attended one of his early sessions in system engineering doesn't remember sitting around thinking, what does building a jet plane have to do with my industry? But the process came from the defense industry, and that was the training that was available at the time. So Chester brought it in because he always saw the bigger picture. On the personal side, Chester loved baseball and organized many nights at the Tampa Bay Rays, doubling the normal crowd at the game with his 180 participants. He loved his Vizsla dogs and was so proud of their achievements at competitions. And he loved photography, combining the two hobbies of his, which resulted in hundreds of pictures of his beautiful animals. And this last passion also led to the creation of ITS Florida's very popular annual calendar, which you received in your registration bag, and which is now known as the Chester Chandler ITS Florida Calendar. Please, let's just have a moment of silence for the loss of both these great ITS leaders. Thank you. So finally, let me close with a couple of general thoughts about our summit. Our tagline is coming together to address the challenge of connecting cars, communities, and citizens. As a senior member of this group, as witnessed by the gray hair, let me tell you that this is a new way of thinking about things. Transportation used to mean roads, and maybe in some areas outside of Florida, it meant buses as well. But my career, as Jonathan pointed out, started back when computer-based signal systems were really a unique concept, and they were an oddity, and they weren't the expectation of every city like today. But over my 35 years in the industry, things have changed a lot, and they continue to change at an increasingly rapid pace. We may never get to the Jetsons' flying cars promised by Popular Science in the 50s, and given today's distracted driving, that's probably a good thing. But instead, the development of the AV-CV technology is coming fast. I was reading an article the other day, and it was talking about Sayer. Now, Sayer is Jaguar's vision for the world's first voice-activated artificial intelligence steering wheel, able to carry out hundreds of tasks connecting the home and the car. So it was named after Malcolm Sayer, who's one of their designers, and it has a brushed metal-looking device. It looks like a steering wheel that would sit in your home and could be pre-programmed to plan out an entire autonomous journey. So you would simply tell Sayer where you need to be and by when, and it would arrange everything from setting your wake-up alarm to arranging the car to arrive autonomously at your front door. I mean, that's just an incredible thought, you know, when you think of how far we've come, and it's not that far away from actually occurring. So in closing, I would say enjoy your next 3 days and use all the elements of ITS5C Summit to learn all you can about the amazing things that are ahead of us. Thank you.